Hey, yo! Okay. Hi, Brennan. Howdy doody. Sorry. Straight, because there are nervous people watching, I'm sure. Who knows? Okay, so I want to tell the world that I've been doing a sociology study for a long time. Subconsciously happened because as a child, I realized that there was this certain statistic, a secondary norm, something you don't really see unless you understand it. That there was these youth on the West Coast. Particularly, I grew up in a semi-logging town, semi-beach town, sort of Mason-Dixon meets the West Coast. And so I realized that there was these people left-handed. I mean, can you say anything more, toxically liberal, right? So that's Santa Cruz, toxically liberal. Sure. Gender benders, whatever they are. It's nothing bad, you could say the same thing about like the third world or something like that, So I constantly diversify because I'm just trying to balance things out, and basically there's like jagged visions. If you kind of like you think like what like that piece of kryptonite, Clark Kent throw it out there, and suddenly your home is this big mess of shards of broken glass, right? Like Superman, right? So that's the vision, the sort of Hollywood portrayal. And so to balance out all this stuff that I do, I basically working on this vehicle of the future, which is stretching out harmony. So you have like one person who's like just this great driver, like if you ride a bus, occasionally you get a bus driver who's kind of like cool, but they just drive so smoothly, and then you get this guy with this like nut job, like whatever, and he's like, no, I'm gonna drive now. It's sort of you're like driving the seat, and you have to keep your eyes on the road because he'll like have a nervous, this happens maybe a third of the population. I mean, driving causes mental illness the way I see it. It's like there's a lot of people out there that maybe they got a white car, a white truck, a white shirt, a white helmet, I don't know. And people say, oh, there he is, and they can't handle the attention at that point, and so they're just like maniacs. And so this is how you have to draw this out, because you have a few people who are very cool. It could be as few as like that fifth dimension, that less than 1%, who not the left or the right, not that 1%, but there's a bunch of 1%, right? So if you think like the North Pole, Superman's, Santa's workshop, I don't know. I like all these shards, all these like 1,000 like directions that you have to, you just have to find the right ones, because otherwise people will become crazy. I think, oh, you're conspiring against me and stuff like that. So that's really rough on. That's just kind of like bouncing off the walls type of mentality. So basically, I'm working on this vehicle of the future that stretches out. So basically, you have one driver taking dozens of people along the route, whatever they're, wherever you want to go. You wait until that convoy comes, and you have a little autopilot. You just have two little tracks down the road. Every car drives in these little tracks, and it's as smooth as possible. And there's no nut jobs, because even your own parents, you might see this. I actually saw this recently. I'm in Europe, and when I'm with my dad, my father, and I'm like having like the California nightmare, and he's having the California dream because he didn't grow up there. Well, when I'm with him, he's kind of like this psychotic driver. So, and I realize that it's mostly me being there, or being near, being at the house or something like that. That he's like, when I'm there, he's like I'm in the car with him. He's driving crazy. So I realized, I saw this just recently, that what appeared to be a father and a son. And the father was driving like, I don't know if I can, excuse my language there. But that's how it happens. Now I wrote a little poem here, and I'm trying to break free occasionally, rarely, from my sort of masochistic atomic poetry, the sociology stuff, because it's just like it's like a degenerative rhyme and stuff like that. I'm doing a math equation. I'm sort of da, 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 da. It's like a video game. Now you have like remote control in your left hand. This is my remote control, right? And it's like that's how you do it. That's how it used to be. Used to like, who knows? Paradigm shifts. The television's not the same. It used to be real time. Okay, so here's a poem that I wrote. I thought was rather peaceful. The birds soar in the canyon, swooping from their rocky perches, as warm oleander-scented breezes swirl through the verdant olive branches on an old-world island above the golden fields that have fed the wandering flocks of pilgrims and ancient shepherds in contemplative plaid. This land of milk and honey rests under cool stone arches, dappling in hydro-protective, energized, dreamy lights, where diners chat the delicacies with pragmatic patience, and in their sacred gardens coincide the talk of innocence, as the day and night speak secretly of simpler times, and singers seek the stoic tempo, stirring tempered deep inside. I thought that was good. Working on some of those. A lot of them, they always go back to the sociology, because that's basically. So for me, art isn't really so much color, and that helps if it's categorical color. You could say, there's the blue pie, the cherry pie, whatever the color sort of colorblind. So few people are. So I'm trying to put like more geometry. That's much more interesting. Like if you have a ceiling and it has like especially if it has a single geometric sort of picture on it, and you're just looking at that and when you sleep, right? When you wake up, I find that amazing. But where I actually grew up was actually knotty pine stems. It kind of drove me nuts. I was like, there's a knot. I wonder why. So random, So random stuff is sort of like the enemy of harmony and order. So order is like, that's why we have technology, but also we have, you got to do one thing first, and you have to respect the sort of laws and the rules. And if you don't respect them, if you say, that's normal schmormal, then who knows what happens? You lose your protection. Okay, so that's the big picture right there, and a single point, right? So, and you have to hold on, but it's like you have to let go. So that's why technology itself becomes this sort of you're going forward, but what is just behind you could be the answer, sort of in that vacuum behind your blind spot. The vacuumless blind spot. That you don't even, so, okay, that's, you start questioning the morality and sort of cultural questions of morality, and this is California's sort of right-hand howdy doody that I try to explain just from facts, just from facts that are buried in our shameful world, So I'm just doing the sociology, and I want to invent the vehicle of the future, and I have the brain power, I have the heart and the mind, and the will, right? To bring it together, to say no. I see that, because there are nut jobs out there, and if you they're just waiting for someone to say, "Oh, chaos is now in session." Sort of. Now we can all be angry or something like that, and that's that, that's 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 a lever. That's a creepy lever. That's that maybe they'll if you get up Craft Creek, how are you going to get down? You need a paddle, you need a lever. It's that's why I'm working on the sociology, but it's sort of this utter dead end. Sort of like you say, there it is, and then you see, oh, there's a roadblock and a bunch of losers hanging out there or something, and so you're like, Jesus. It's the mystery of geography. So that is the big sort of the one that you must, you know, uh, orchestrate in a heartbeat, or else people start losing their sort of faith because they're like, why didn't that already happen? Why are you laughing now? It's because we're trying to manufacture our destiny in foreign lands, and so it's not always normal to do things of a quality nature. So that's sort of like manifest destiny, qualitative or quantitative deflation of a sort of a swelling sort of mind, ego, with the technology in loop, so connecting the loop that is of the quality that is not disposable. So it's about the anti-disposable society and with real general happiness. I mean, this is something that everyone could like vote on, but at the same time, it's the most sensitive sort of subject possible, right? I mean, you're like, so a net is sort of this sort of one where you catch these heroes and you're putting them in their old world, sort of rationalizing non-disposable mentalities and general happiness, which is this just I understand that people say, oh, once he's got on the halfway to the tightrope and he's not like got the shakes in his legs, right? Which is that's kind of funny. Someone gets the shakes and they're like up a giant tree, it's hilarious, right? That someone manages to get out in no man's land and keep their cool and not say, oh, I'm like mad or something like that, or either or. They say, oh, jeez, maybe you could make it, don't be insane, and the idea that anyone understands, like the economists, sort of like blows them away. They're sort of like, you don't even know, but so that's what I'm working on. I'm working on like the theory, and so basically the sociological theory is so compact, this tiny little equation, right, that sort of stretches out to not to infinity, but to harmony and order. So there's just enough so that you're doing maximum good with minimum damage, and maximum happiness with minimum sort of insanity, right? And yet keeping along enough of people who are in that general happiness, that loop, right? Basically in the loop, so you have the top and the bottom, and so you have to make it all. It's non-disposable, so it's like the earth, so it's this giant link. You want to make it all functional, right? So ecology and economy. Those are the two logics, and name. What's in a name, and you could make new names up as you mix formulas, which is right. Mixing, east and west, and stuck a feather in his hat and call it a macaroni. It's like salad, right? It's like, but you can make the good stuff, the really, really, really good salad, right? And that's what you want to do. You want it, and it's sort of the fifth, right? No. Plead the fifth. Okay, so what was I there? Poetry, distractions of harmony. So if you have like technology, architectural sort of functionality, architectural transportation. So basically, what the most efficient transportation out there is gotta be like a cylinder-shaped coffin, basically a giant, not a giant, but a human-sized dildo. Okay, sort of right? I mean, a cigar, right? Just roll up into a piece of carpet and then just roll down the road. Roll the carpet out for you when you get there, right? So that's if you want the most efficient. But if there's no comfort, efficiency is going to go up in smoke. Okay, so that's this, and the comfort is multi. It's like one of the that pickup sticks again. The same thing of all the shards. It's comfort is in here, it's in here, okay, and it's also somewhere down by your shoes, okay. So your brain is in your feet, but don't get cancer because you gotta like say, no, doctor, I swear the cancer's up here. So have fun, but don't give your feet too much credit. They're just moving you around. They're they're throbbing, right? So I step on a rock, right? So this, I'm working on the grand equations, drawing those threads out, that fabric that somehow I've been sort of left behind to do this, and hopefully someone's listening. Hello. So because I really worked out that perfect system, and I need you to know that I'm very serious, okay? This is absolutely gnarly, dude. Code Charlie, rocker. Something like that. Poetry. And ink. So that's about enough for you. Lay down the law here. See if I can jump. Oh, too tall. It's scary. I'm like 6'3", so it's like when no one else is my size, I sort of start going, whoa, why is that chair so small? So, whoa, stop the chair moving. Right? I don't drink either, so rarely. But sometimes I like to pretend, just ice cream, that's all. And ooh. Legend. So that's enough. I tell you enough. Because I'm watching America. Okay, so I'm looking for, the fool is interesting. The person who believes that somehow, because they grew up on the East Coast, they're special, right? And that's where the founding fathers grew up. With their mullets, right? The founding fathers had mullets. Don't forget that. That's why they were kooks. But it's just the reality. Look at a quarter, okay? Look at a nickel. So it's like that paddle, that lever that you're like wondering, Jesus, who's really listening? Only the nut jobs, you wondering. So you're like, God damn. There has to be, well, there doesn't have to be anything really. We're just animals. But there should be, I'm trying to get a scholarship, right? Sort of maybe what's it called, an intern? Yes, I'd love to do that. I basically do sociology, but I really want to work on this vehicle of the future, and that is it.